Good morning, Santa Barbara. Good morning, Iloilo. Good morning, Philippines. All of you came here for the same reason. Of course, you are prepared for the Preventive conference that will follow. You have your requirements with you. You have the list of questions to be answered. And remember, today is the time to shoot your questions. May I also remind you that this is not a venue for criticisms. We are here to offer solutions to problems. Our purpose is to help, to criticize objectively, and to gain friends. Let us create a friendly, not hostile environment. Before we start, let's ask for God's blessing. Gracious God, we come before you with grateful hearts, seeking your blessings upon this Preventive conference. Pour out your favor upon us, granting us clarity of thought, unity of purpose, and a spirit of cooperation. May your abundant blessings flow through our discussions and decisions, bringing forth positive outcomes. We invite your presence to dwell among us, filling this Preventive conference with your grace and peace. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Our procurement head, Engineer Elna Nepomuceno, will now call the roll.
Good morning once again. I would like to present to you the members of Bids and Awards Committee of this office, headed by Engineer Sentia C. Caigoy as back chairperson, Engineer Eva Isbidonia as back vice chairperson, Engineer Gemma H. Tamagos as back regular member, Engineer Jaime E. Sumagaysay, back provisional member, Engineer Madonna May S. Sadaba, back provisional member, end user for construction projects, and Ms. DBL Amber, back provisional member, end user for goods and services. May I turn over this to Engineer Sentia Caigoy for our Preventive conference for civil works, and to be followed by a Preventive conference for goods and services.
Good morning once again. Considering that the members of the Bids and Awards Committee are in quorum, I declare this bid of Preventive conference for civil works to order and to be followed by the Preventive conference for goods and services. We have contract ID number 24GI0051, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Umingan, Alimodian, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024, General Appropriation Act RA number 11975. Construction of multipurpose building gym with 16 meter by 30 meter dimension, with electrical works and hauling cost as per plan and specifications, with approved budget for the contract 4,950,000 with the contract duration of 190 calendar days. Then we have contract ID number 24GI0056, construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Bulod, Alimodian, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 General Appropriations Act RA number 11975. Construction of multipurpose building, 16 meter by 10 meter cover gym with 2-span footing, column tie beam, SOF roof framing, roofing, ring holder with ring with 2 side storm drainage and electrical works as per plan and specification, with approved budget for the contract 2,970,000 with 100 calendar days contract duration. Then we have contract ID number 24GI0064, construction completion of multipurpose building, Alibango Central Elementary School, Alimodian, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, completion of multipurpose building including earthworks, concrete works, masonry works, ceiling works, electrical works, painting, tile works, doors, windows, storm drainage cuts, basin and finishes as per plan and specification, with approved budget for the contract 2,970,000 with 106 calendar days contract duration. Then we have contract ID number 24GI0088, Preventive Maintenance of Road Asphalt Overlay Iloilo East Coast-Capiz Road, kilometer 284 plus 777 to kilometer 286 plus 280, location Saraga, Iloilo, with the funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriations Act RA number 11975. Scope of works for CW1 preventive maintenance 50 mm thick asphalt overlay of 6.448 lane kilometer, and for the CW2 of carriageway improvement paving of shoulders. Approved budget for the contract for CW1 is 63,289,525, and for CW2 57,335,475, with a total of 120,625 pesos with 281 calendar days. For contract ID 24GI0089, Preventive Maintenance of Road Asphalt Overlay Iloilo East Coast Capiz Road, kilometer 286 plus 280 to kilometer 288 plus 124, location Saraga, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975. Scope of works for CW1 preventive maintenance 50 mm thick asphalt overlay of 7.404 lane kilometer road, and for the CW2 of carriageway improvement paving of shoulders. Approved budget for the contract for CW1 we have 76,981,940, and for the CW2 we have 53,848,060 pesos, and with a total of 130,800,000 pesos, and the contract duration is 287 calendar days. For contract ID 24GI0090, construction of multipurpose building, Pavia, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 General Appropriations Act RA number 11975. Scope of works, complete construction of 2-story 4-classroom school building with 0.3 embankment as per plan and specification. With the approved budget for the contract 17,077,500 pesos with 140 calendar days contract duration. For contract ID 24GI0091, construction of multipurpose buildings, Santa Barbara, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975. Scope of works, construction of 12 meter by 18 meter gym with mezzanine floor, concreting of slab, plumbing and electrical works, painting of walls, installation of bricks for columns as per plan and specification. With approved budget for the contract 10,147,500 pesos with 138 calendar days. And for the contract ID number 24GI0092, construction of multipurpose building, Poblacion, Leganes, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 Appropriation Act RA number 11975. Scope of works, construction of 1-story multipurpose building, complete with 17.9 meter by 13.5 meter dimension with 1.2 meter column annual provision for second floor plan as per plans and specification, with approved budget for the contract 9,900,000 and with 140 calendar days contract duration. And for the contract ID number 24GI0093, construction of Aganan RIS Dam concrete slope protection, San Miguel, Iloilo. With funding source FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, construction of reinforced concrete flood control, with approved budget for the contract 11,760,000 and with 116 calendar days contract duration.
For eligibility requirements for Class A documents, we have the legal documents, technical documents, and financial documents. For Class B documents, for joint venture. And for Class A documents, legal documents. Registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship or Cooperative Development Authority for cooperatives. Mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. Tax clearance per Executive Order 398 Series of 2005 as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, you have the valid pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint venture and registration for the type and cost of contract to be bid. For contract ID 24 GI 0051, 24 GI 0056, 0064, 0090, 0091, and 0092. With license categories C and D, kind of project GB-1, building or industrial plant. For size range, we have small b. And for contract ID, 24 GI 0088 and 24 GI 0089. For license category is B, kind of project, G-1, road, highways, pavement, railways, airport, horizontal structure, and bridges. For the size range, we have medium A. For contract ID 24 GI 00923 with license category C and D, kind of project G-2, irrigation or flood control with a size range of small b. Statement of the bidder of all its ongoing and government and private contracts, including awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid. Under that, we have the adjustment to current prices using Philippine Statistic Authority to consumer price indices must be at least 50% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid, provided However, that the contractors under small a and small b categories without similar experience on the contract to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable range of contract cost of their registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PCAP. A contract shall be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has the following categories. For contract ID 24 GI 0051, 0056, 0064, 0090, 0091, and 0092. For major category of works, building, construction without piles, low-rise, concrete frame 1 to 5 story. For similar categories of work, building, construction with piles, high-rise, concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Building, construction with piles, low-rise, concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Building, construction with piles, high-rise, concrete frame, driven piles. Buildings, construction with piles, low-rise, concrete frame, driven piles. Building, construction without piles, high-rise, concrete frame. Buildings, industrial plant, low-rise. Buildings, industrial plant, high-rise. Buildings, industrial plant, medium-rise. For contract ID 24 GI 0088 and GI 0089 for major category of works, road, construction, asphalt, roads, construction, PCCB. Similar categories of work, roads, rehabilitation, asphalt, roads, rehabilitation, PCCP, roads, construction, tunnel, and PCCP. Major category of works, for contract ID 24 GI 0093 for major category of works, flood control, construction, slope protection using structural measures such as revetment, retaining structures, warnet. Similar category of works, road, construction, slope protection using structural plusure. Example, revetment, retaining structures, warnet. Flood control, hydraulics, river control, ports, harbors, causeway, flood control, hydraulics, dam. For financial documents, the bidder audited financial statements showing, among others, on bidder's total and current assets and liabilities, stamp received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. The bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity must be at least equal to approved budget for the contract, computed using the prescribed formula. NFCC is equals to current assets minus current liabilities times 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portion of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. The values of the domestic bidder, current assets, and current liabilities shall be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR for Class B documents for joint venture, valid joint venture agreement in accordance with RA 4566 and each IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective PhilGIP certificates of registration in accordance with the Section 8.5.2 of this IRR. The submission of the technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitutes compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all of its ongoing contracts and audited financial statements.
Submission and receipts of bids. We have the first envelope under that is technical proposal, and the second envelope we have financial proposal. One original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of each bid. It is noted that prior to the sale of bidding documents, only the following documents are required from the prospective bidders, to wit: first, company ID or any government-issued ID. Second, authorization letter. If not authorized liaison officer in the CWA, we have the special power of attorney for sole proprietorship or board partnership, joint venture resolution with secretary certificate for corporation, partnership, joint venture, or cooperative. The contents of the first envelope, that is the technical proposal, we have the valid and updated certificate of PhilGIP's registration under platinum membership in compliance with the GPPB Resolution 15-2021, dated October 14, 2021, issued in accordance with the amended Section 8.5.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Second is the pickup license and registration, special pickup license if joint venture. Third, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. Next, statement of all of single largest completed contract, the NFCC computation, and the joint venture agreement if applicable. Another is the original copy of bid security in the prescribed form, amount, and validity period. If in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. We have the bid validity period of 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids, and the bid security validity period is also 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. The form of bid security and the corresponding amount of bid security not less than the required percentage of the approved budget for the contract. For the cash or cashier's manager's check issued by Universal Commercial Bank, we have 2% of the approved budget for the contract. And for bankrupt guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by Universal or Commercial Bank, we have also 2% of the approved budget for the contract. And for the surety bond callable on demand, issued by a surety or insurance company, duly certified by the Insurance Commission, as authorized to issue such security, is 5% of the approved budget for the contract. For the project requirements, which shall include the following. First, organizational chart for the contract to be bid. Another, list of contractors' personnel such as project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foremen, to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. Another, the list of contractors' major equipment units, which are owned, leased, or under purchase of agreement, supported by a proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor for the duration of the project, as the case may be. and the original duly signed omnibus sworn statement, and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the omnibus sworn statement and do acts to represent the bidder. The contents of the second envelope, which is the financial proposal. First, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form in accordance with the forms prescribed in Section 10, bidding forms of bidding documents. Another, original of duly signed bid prices and the bill of quantities, which is the BOQ, and the duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. And the last is the cash flow by quarter.
For bid evaluation, the financial component of the bids which pass bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors in those determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The BAC shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceed the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. For completeness of the bid, bids not addressing or providing all of the required items on the bidding documents, including the BOQ, shall be considered non-responsive in those automatically disqualified. No price and required item shall be considered non-responsive in those automatically disqualified, indicating a zero or a dash free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. For arithmetical corrections, bid prices in figures versus words, the words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price per item, as extended or multiplied by the quantity of the item, the unit price prevails. Total price versus actual sum of component items, the actual sum prevails. Unit cost in detailed estimate versus unit cost in BOQ, the BOQ prevails. Total calculated bid prices are as evaluated and corrected for the computational errors and or other bid modifications which exceed the ABC shall be disqualified.
For post-qualification, post-qualification shall verify, validate, and ascertain the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all the Class A eligibility documents supporting the PhilJEB Certificate of Registration and Membership in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of Revised IRR of RA 9184 and all other statements made and documents submitted by the bidder using non-discretionary criteria. These criteria shall consider but shall not be limited to the following. Legal requirements to verify, validate, and ascertain licenses, certificates, permits, and agreements submitted by the bidder, and the fact that it is not included in any blacklist as provided in Section 25.3 of Revised IRR of RA 9184. For technical requirements, verification and validation of the bidder's stated competence and experience, and the competence and experience of the bidder's key personnel to be assigned to the project. The verification and availability and a commitment and or inspection and testing for the required capacities and operating conditions of equipment units to be owned, leased, under purchase by the bidder for use in the contract under bidding. Failure of the prospective bidder to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award of contract and forfeiture of its bid security per DO number 58 series of 2012. Checking the performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts if any of these ongoing contracts shows the following: negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project, or negative slippage of at least 10% in each or two or more contracts. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works and to complete ongoing contracts in the prescribed date after receipt of the notice and defects and deficiencies.
failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificate of acceptance in the prescribed date after the receipt of the notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality of works or unsatisfactory performance per contract term and conditions at the time of inspection. DO number 127, series of 2018, strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. Note, if the BAC verifies any of these deficiencies to be due to the contractor's fault or negligence, the agency shall disqualify the contractor from the award. Ascertainment of the authenticity of the bid security and its correctness as to type, amount, form and wording, and validity period as required in the bidding documents. For financial requirements, to verify, validate, and ascertain the bid price proposal of the bidder and whenever applicable, the required committed line of credit in the amount specified and over the period stipulated in the bidding documents, or the bidder's NFCC to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of that transaction. Notes on the personnel and equipment requirements of the project as per DO number 9, series of 2012, technical requirements for civil work projects for public bidding. If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and he or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualification as certified by the head of the implementing office. The bidder may propose a key technical personnel who is not its employee, provided that the said personnel is required to submit a certification that he or she will work for the bidder if it is awarded the contract under bidding. These certifications shall be included in the first envelope of the sealed bid. Also to be verified during post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidder should specify in the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any equipment is not in the specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. For the list of key personnel for all the projects, we have the following. Project manager, 5 minimum years of similar experience and 5 minimum years of total work experience. For project engineer, we have 3 minimum years of similar experience and 3 minimum years of total work experience. For project inspector, 2 years of minimum similar experience and 2 minimum years of total work experience. For materials engineer 1, we have 2 minimum years of similar experience and 2 minimum years of total work experience. For safety officer, 1 minimum year of similar experience and 1 minimum year of total work experience. For foreman, we have 1 minimum year of similar experience and 1 minimum year of total work experience. Lists of key equipment units may be owned, leased, or under purchase agreement supported by the certification of availability of the equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project. For the list of key equipment units, you may refer to the posted bidding documents. The proof of ownership of equipment requirements are copies of current LTO official receipt and certificate of registration of the equipment, which should be attached together with the affidavit of ownership. In case of leased equipment, a lease contract or an affidavit of commitment should be submitted with the lessor or owner as the pledger of the equipment, stating therein that the equipment will be available for the whole duration of the project. For the purchase agreement, the description of the equipment to be purchased, such as brand or model, type of equipment, motor number, body number, and the capacity must be indicated in the document. Otherwise, the BAC will not honor the purchase agreement, and the bidder will be declared as non-compliant. Likewise, the subcontractor's major equipment units pledged to be used for the project must be supported by proof of ownership if it is owned, lease agreement if it is being leased, and purchase agreement if to be purchased. A certification of availability of equipment for the duration of the project must also be provided by the equipment owner and or lessor or vendor. Prospective bidders or contractors are likewise required for the inclusion of the minimum materials testing equipment in the technical component of the bid, in compliance with DO number 11 series of 2017, superseding DO number 80 series of 1990 and all other issuances. For the batching plan, it should be DPWH accredited per DO number 253 series of 2003, accreditation of asphalt and Portland cement concrete batching plants, stating that only asphalt and concrete mixes of the highest quality will be used in all public works and highways projects, and DO number 49 series of 2004, amendment to DO number 253 series of 2003. All documents in support of the ownership of the equipment and other documents photocopied from the original shall be legibly readable and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Corollary, DO number 58 series of 2012 dated August 29, 2012 further provides the inclusion of material data on the pledged equipment of the bidder by requiring all bidder or contractor to fully comply with the contract minimum equipment requirements as prescribed in the bid documents. A complete technical description of the pledged equipment, whether owned or leased, such as but not limited to the engine number, year model, chassis number, plate number, production number, and load capacity, availability, and operating condition. In addition, bidders were also required to state in the bid documents the particular place or site where the equipment are located as provided for under DO number 9, series of 2012. That failure to comply with the said requirements shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award and forfeiture of its bid security.
The contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid as a result of the detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award should be made within the bid validity period. Note, subcontracting is not allowed. Common reasons for rejection of bids, ineligibility, and post-disqualification of bidders: failure to submit the original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission indicating the name of the project, the procuring entity, and the name of the contractor; shorter bid validity and bid security validity period; overlapping of pledged equipment and committed key technical personnel; failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form; late submission of bid; failure to submit supporting documents such as certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor, vendor for the duration of the project, if equipment pledged is to be leased or purchased; negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project, or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts; unsatisfactory CPES rating; common errors in the submission of bids; incomplete pages of bid, technical, and financial documents; authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. For single proprietor, signatory should be the owner proprietor only. For corporation and cooperative, board secretary certificate and board resolution. And for joint venture resolution or agreement. And for the partnership as indicated in the articles of partnership. Deadline for the submission of clarification and amendments: March 22, 2024. Address to Cynthia C. Caigoy, Chairperson. Email address caigoy@cynthia.dpws.gov.ph or to Elna P. Nepomuceno, Head Procurement Unit. Email address nepomuceno.elna@dpwh.gov.ph. Deadline for the submission of bids, April 2, 2024 at 9 a.m. Number of copies of bid proposal, one original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid, and the place of submission of its bid back Procurement Office, DPWH Iloilo 4th District Engineering Office. To all prospective bidders, you may submit your bid either electronically or manually pursuant to Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020, and submit your queries, if any, until March 22, 2024, at least 10 days from the opening of bid. Then we will proceed to the pre-bid conference for goods and services. For contract ID 24 GGI 0007, supply delivery of various laboratory testing equipment under Quality Assurance Section of DPWH Iloilo 4th District Engineering Office, Santa Barbara, Iloilo. Funding source FY 2024 EO. Approved budget for the contract 2,875,350 pesos and 60 calendar days contract duration.
Submission and receipt of bids. Submission and receipt of bids for first envelope, eligibility and technical proposal for Class A documents, legal documents, technical documents, and financial documents. And for Class B documents, second envelope, financial proposal. One original copy for the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid in A4 form. Content of the first envelope, eligibility and technical proposal for Class A documents, legal documents, valid field chips registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages, registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship, or Cooperative Development Authority for cooperatives of its equivalent documents. Mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or area. Tax clearance per Executive Order Number 398, Series of 2005, as finally reviewed and approved the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid, except under provided for the section 23.4.1.3 and 23.4.2.4 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184 within the relevant period as provided in the bidding documents. Original copy of bid security if the form of a surety bond submittal certification issued by the Insurance Commission. For bid validity period, must have 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bid. Original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. The bidder shall submit a bid securing declaration or any form of bid security enumerated below. For the cashier, cashier's or managed check issued by the universal or commercial bank is 2% of the approved budget for the contract. For the bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a universal or commercial bank, still 2% of the approved budget for the contract. For the surety bond callable on demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security is 5% of the approved budget for the contract.
The conformity of the technical specification with brochures, which may include production, delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after-sales parts if applicable. For contract, for contract 24 GGY 007, lot number is 1. The description is non-nuclear soil density gauge. non-nuclear soil density is used for detecting the density of soil specimen for non-nuclear type. The measurement mode. The average 5 readings in stores data including location, data, and time. The functions, wet and dry density, percent compaction, and percent moisture. For soil specification, designed to operate with standard soil, requirements inputs for the standard are the LL, PL, the PI, the vertical size distribution, and Proctor test. The operating temperature is from 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. For the operational features, display full color graphics driven user interfere with touchscreen display with LED backlight for easy visibility in daylight or dark situation. Status bar, display GPS status, battery voltage, low battery, and date and time. Project details, stores up to 20 project with details. Materials details, store up to 20 materials. Details include materials name, description, max dry density, optional moisture, and dry density of offset. Date logging, ability to store all measurement. Reports easily download data to be imported into Excel. The GPS control with activated well-displayed latitude and longitude position, the number of satellite that the gauge is connected to us as the UTC date and time. Also available in UTM format. GPS information will store with each measurement with the data save feature enabled. The update software, one touch upload of new software using USB memory stick. Data management, quickly access, download, or project data. Set time and date, quick time and data setup. Standardization while gauge is still in case, a quick is still proper working mode. For other requirements, microprocessor control, battery with 14.0 amperes per hour and mAh 720 volts with charge time 4 hours with battery charger and one USB port computer. With calibration certificate from manufacturer, supplier if available, include other general requirements found at the end of these documents. The quantity is 1 unit. For lot number 2, the mechanical save shaker description, quantity 1 unit. For lot number 3, automatic mechanical compressor, quantity 1 set. And lot number 4, concrete mixer, quantity 1 unit. The original duly signed omnibus statement, if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. For financial documents, the supplier's audited financial statement showing, among others, the supplier total and current assets and liabilities stamp received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be issued earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. The prospective bidder's computation net financial contracting capacity or a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation. For Class B documents, if applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case the joint venture is already in existence, or duly authorized statement of all the potential joint venture partnership stating that they will enter into the and abide by the provisions of the GBA in the instant that the bid is successful. The other documentary requirements under RA 9184 is applicable for foreign bidders claiming by reason of their country extension or reciprocal rights to Filipinos. The certification from the relevant government office of their country stating that the Filipinos are allowed to participate in government procurement activities for the same item or product. The certification from the DTI if the bidder claims preference as domestic bidder or domestic entity. To content of the second envelope, the financial proposal. the original or duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, and the original or duly signed and accomplished price schedules.
Bid evaluation. The financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The BAC shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the approved budget for the contract. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. First, completeness. No price in required item non-responsive, indicating a zero or a dash free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Bids not addressing or providing all the required items in the bidding documents, including, where applicable, BOQ, shall be considered non-responsive. For the arithmetical corrections, we have bid prices and figures versus words. Words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price per item. Unit price prevails. The total price versus actual sum of component items. Actual sum prevails. Unit cost and detailed estimate versus unit cost and BOQ. BOQ prevails. And if above approved budget for the contract, disqualified. Post-qualification. Verification, validation, and ascertainment of all statements made and documents submitted. For the legal requirements, we have licenses, certificates, permits, agreements, and exclusion in any blacklist. For the technical requirements, we have performance and ongoing government and private contracts, such as negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project, or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Substandard quality of supplies, equipment, or unsatisfactory performance per contract term and conditions at the time of inspection. And as per DO number 127, series of 2018, strict application of RA 9184, and the conduct of the post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. And the last is the authenticity and correctness of bid security. Under the financial requirements, we have the bid price proposal and NFCC.
Okay, we'll proceed with the contract award. The contract shall be awarded to the supplier whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid as a result of the detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award should be made within the validity period. Note, subcontracting is not allowed. Common reasons for rejection of bids, ineligibility, and post-disqualification of bidders. First, failure to submit the original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission indicating the name of project, the procuring entity, and the name of supplier. Shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bid. Negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Common errors in the submission of bids. First, incomplete pages of bid for both technical and financial documents, authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. For single proprietorship, we have the signatory should be the owner or proprietor only. For corporation or cooperative, it should be the board secretary certificate and board resolution. Joint venture, there should be joint venture resolution or agreement. And for partnership, as indicated in the articles of partnership.
Deadline for the submission of clarification and amendments is on March 22, 2024, addressed to Cynthia C. Caecoy, Chairperson. Email address caecoy.cynthia@dpwh.gov.ph or to Elna P. Nepomuceno, Head Procurement Unit. Email address nepomuceno.elna@dpwh.gov.ph. Deadline for submission of bids, April 2, 2024 at 10 a.m. Number of copies of bid proposal, 1 original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid in A4 form. And the place of submission of bids is Back Procurement Office, DPWH Iloilo 4th District Engineering Office. Our pre-bid conference adjourned at exactly 10:58. God bless us all.